Welcome to The Explainer. We're here to cut through the noise and connect the dots on today's biggest stories. Let's get into it. So, right off the bat, we've got a pretty stark warning setting the tone for the day. It's the kind of statement that puts a whole nation on edge. So, let's break down what's going on. And what's behind this warning? Well, it all points to one place, a deepening crisis in West Asia. We're talking about the escalating tensions between the US and Iran. And, you guessed it, India is finding itself right in the middle of it all. Right, a nation on high alert. So the big question is, how does a conflict that's happening thousands of miles away suddenly have everyone here on edge? Okay, so this isn't some abstract foreign policy problem. This is real, and it's happening right now. We've got Indian ships with Indian crews literally trapped in the Strait of Hormuz. And look, this isn't just any waterway. It's the main highway for our oil and gas. So when things get disrupted there, it's not just a headline. It puts our people and our entire economy directly in the line of fire. So naturally, the response back home has been swift. India's top defense officials, we're talking the defense minister and all three service chiefs, they held a high-level security meeting in Delhi to assess our military readiness. But this isn't just about military strategy, not by a long shot. The economic side of this is just as critical. And that brings us to the price of this crisis. Because this kind of international pressure, it doesn't just stay in the news. It creates these shockwaves that, you can actually feel right in your own wallet. And where does that ripple effect hit first? For a lot of us, it's the kitchen. The government is already bringing in new rules. Under BPCL's new guidelines, you can only book a maximum of 2 LPG cylinders a month. Now, the official line is that this is a proactive measure, but come on, it's a pretty clear signal that there's real concern about our future supply. And it's not just about energy, right? This kind of economic pressure, it starts to spread. It goes from those big global supply chains all the way down to the local digital services we use every day on our phones. All this uncertainty puts a huge strain on businesses. And you know what happens next? Those costs, they get passed on to us, the consumers. And here's a perfect example. Swiggy is now adding a new platform fee, around 17.5 rupees to every single order. Now you might think, oh, that's not a lot, but multiply that by millions and millions of orders. It shows exactly how companies are adjusting to this new reality. These little costs are a direct result of that much bigger global instability. So if we zoom out from our food orders to the big picture, it gets even clearer. We're seeing major players like Goldman Sachs actually downgrading India's GDP growth forecast for 2026 from 7% all the way down to 5.9%. And the reason they're citing the number one driver of this whole crisis, rising oil prices. This isn't just a number on a chart. It's a serious warning about where the country's economy is headed.
All right, so while the nation is dealing with all these threats from the outside, you can bet the political battlefield at home is really starting to heat up.
And this is fascinating. You have the exact same crisis, but two completely different stories are being told. On one hand, the government is focusing on its high-level defense meetings, projecting this image of being in control and protecting national security. But then you have the opposition's claim, with Rahul Gandhi saying, and I quote, "Modi is 100% under Trump's control." It just goes to show how deep the political divisions are right now. And it's not just one voice. Other opposition leaders are definitely on the offensive. You have Arvind Kejriwal saying his political understanding tells him that Modi and Amit Shah are on their way out. He's suggesting the prime minister's popularity has hit rock bottom. They're really using this moment of uncertainty to predict a big political change. Okay, let's move beyond politics for a moment, because this kind of pressure from the outside, it doesn't just affect politicians. It tends to magnify the tensions that are already there, in the fabric of our society. And we're seeing that everywhere, from the courts to the streets. So, speaking of the courts, the Supreme Court handed down a really big judgment today. It tackles a question that's been debated for a long, long time. Who is actually eligible for scheduled caste status? And the ruling is very specific. The court laid it out in clear steps. Basically, if you are Hindu, Buddhist, or Sikh, you can claim scheduled caste status. But if you convert to another religion, like Christianity, you cannot. So the court is essentially confirming that these benefits are tied to these specific community and religious identities. But that wasn't the only big news from the Supreme Court. In a completely separate ruling, they declared that women officers in the Army are entitled to permanent commission. The court called any denial of this discriminatory, which is a huge deal. This is a massive victory for gender equality in the armed forces, and it also means these officers get their pensions even if they've already finished their service. At the same time, you see these other stories bubbling up that paint a picture of a society under a lot of pressure. I mean, look at this. You've got a spy ring caught sending live CCTV feeds to Pakistan, a massive tender scam for wheat transport uncovered in Rajasthan, and an MLA claiming Muslims are being targeted. All of these things, they really highlight the internal challenges the country's facing. But even with all this heavy news, global crises, political fights, social turmoil, life does go on. So let's take a look at some of the other things that were happening. And how about this for life going on? Let's talk sports. The business of cricket is absolutely booming. Just look at the Rajasthan Royals. Back in 2008, their value was about 556 crore rupees. Today, it's over 15,000 crore. That's a 24 times increase. It just goes to show you, even when things are uncertain, sports and entertainment are a massive economic force. And then there's the weather, which, of course, doesn't care about the news cycle. We're seeing some pretty big shifts across India. Rajasthan is looking at a whole month of rain. In Uttar Pradesh, temperatures have dropped by as much as 10 degrees Celsius, and Jharkhand is expecting rain toward the end of the month. It's just a reminder that nature keeps doing its thing, no matter what. And hey, in entertainment news, life's big milestones are still happening. The popular rapper Badshah just got married for the second time, tying the knot with Punjabi actress Isha Riki. It's just a little reminder that even on a day packed with heavy, serious news, these personal stories are still a big part of what's going on. All right, so we've gone through all of this, everything from a global conflict to the price of a food delivery. What does it all mean? What's the takeaway? Today's news is just a powerful reminder of how interconnected everything really is. A distant conflict can literally change the price of your gas, and our own national challenges, well, they can reveal both our unity and our divisions. And that ultimately leaves us with this big question. In a world in conflict and with a nation divided, what does one day's news really tell us about the road ahead? That's all for this explainer.